All right, let's just jump right in. The way we hire people, well, it's going through this huge transformation. And honestly, it's about time. We're talking about a massive shift away from the old, stuffy traditions and into something that feels, well, a whole lot smarter.
Okay, I'm going to start with just the number, 77%. Just let that sink in for a second. Before I tell you what it means, what do you think that could be? Any guesses?
That's the number of employers who are struggling to fill jobs, even when they are literally flooded with applications. Think about that for a second. You've got tons of people applying, but you can't find the right fit. It's this crazy paradox, and it's a giant red flag that the system itself is just broken.
So before we can talk about the solution, we've got to really dig into the problem, right? Let's break down what's so wrong with the old way of doing things.
You know the ones I'm talking about. We've all seen them. These job descriptions that are completely obsessed with pedigree. You know, must have an MBA from a top school, or you need exactly 5 years in this very specific role. It's all about where you've been and the titles you've had, and the whole thing is built on this shaky foundation of assumptions about what actually makes someone good at their job.
And what's the result of all that? Well, we end up putting up these totally artificial walls. We filter out so many talented people who could absolutely crush it, just because their resume doesn't fit into some neat, tidy, and frankly, outdated box.
Which, leads us to the big question, doesn't it? If the old way is so inefficient, and let's be honest, unfair, what's the alternative? Is there a better way to do this? Well, spoiler alert, there is, and it's really starting to take off.
And that alternative is what we're here to talk about, skills-based hiring. It's a total game changer, and it completely flips the script on how we think about finding talent.
So what is it exactly? Well, at its heart, it's a really simple but incredibly powerful idea. It's about shifting our focus from credentials to capabilities. It's not about the fancy degree on your resume. It's about what you can actually do, right here, right now.
And you can see this whole mindset shift in the kinds of questions we ask. Instead of grilling someone about their past, we start to explore what they can do today to solve real problems. That one little change, it redefines the entire process.
Okay, so this all sounds good, right? It makes sense. But does it actually work in practice? Is there proof? Oh yeah, the data here is pretty incredible. Let's get into the numbers.
All right, next big number for you, 90%. Any ideas on this one? What could 90% possibly represent?
Get this. Companies that switch to skills-based hiring report 90% fewer hiring mistakes. That's a massive drop in bad hires. Just think about the time, the money, the sheer frustration that's saved. It's huge. And it's not just about dodging bad hires. It's about finding amazing ones. A whopping 94% of companies say that the people they hire based on skills actually perform better than the ones they hired based on degrees. They don't just do the job, they knock it out of the park.
So, what about the talent pool itself? Finding people to begin with? Well, this next number is pretty mind-blowing. 6.1x.
That's right. When you stop obsessing over things like specific degrees, your talent pool doesn't just get bigger, it explodes by over 600%. You suddenly have access to this massive ocean of talented people that you were completely ignoring before. And the benefits don't stop there. This has a real human impact. We see a 24% jump in workplace diversity. And because you're hiring people who are genuinely a good fit for the work, they stick around. We're talking 34% longer retention. So it's fairer, and it creates more stable, committed teams. It's a win-win.
Look, this isn't just some feel-good HR trend. This is becoming a must-do. Switching to a skills-based approach is becoming a critical, strategic move for any company that seriously wants to stay in the game.
Let's just zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Right now, today, 87% of companies are already dealing with critical skill gaps. Then you have AI and automation creating brand new jobs that didn't even exist 5 years ago. There's no degree for that yet. And looking ahead to 2030, experts are saying 1 billion workers globally will need to be reskilled. The pressure's on from every direction.
So when you see that, the conclusion is pretty obvious, isn't it? The old way of hiring, just looking at degrees and past job titles, it just can't keep up. The world is changing too fast. That model is basically obsolete. Okay, so we get the why. It's urgent, it's effective. But what about the how? How does a company actually do this? Let's walk through the playbook.
It really changes the entire hiring funnel, from top to bottom. See, in the old model, the first thing you do is screen resumes for degrees and experience. But with this new model, the very first step is a skills assessment. The focus shifts right from the get-go, from tell me what you've done to show me what you can do. So where do you start? Well, it's pretty straightforward. First, you have to figure out what skills you actually truly need for the job. Then, you build assessments to test for those specific skills. Now, step 3 is maybe the most important, and it's a culture thing. You have to train your hiring managers to value what someone can do, not just what their resume looks like. And finally, you can use AI and other tools to help make this whole process way more efficient.
And look, you don't have to change everything all at once. The best way to do this is to just start small. Pick a role or two, test it out, see what works, learn a few things, and then you can scale it up smartly from there.
So, at the end of the day, it really boils down to one simple question. The world of work has already changed. That's a fact. The only question now is whether we're going to change with it. So, are you hiring for the past, or are you building a team for the future?